Bonjour classe. Aujourd'hui, on apprend l'impératif. Pourquoi est-ce que l'impératif est important? Why is imperative important? You guys will be completing an assignment called Cher Mimi in the last week or so of school. And in this assignment, you will be giving advice given an anonymous problem. Okay, so a letter with a problem outlined by an anonymous person. You'll be receiving that letter, and then you have to give advice back to that person. And when you give advice, you have to use impératif. All right, impératif is used when you're giving a recipe or giving advice. So it's a command, I guess you could say. Un ordre, une instruction ou une demande. Okay, that is when you use this grammar point, impératif. Okay, so I'll give you a moment to write that down on your fill in the blank sheet. Okay, moving on. Selon toi, où est-ce qu'on trouve l'impératif? So, where do you think you could find examples of impératif? So I already said one example before. One example is in recipes or stop signs, traffic signs, or you can find instructions in brochures. All right, the next slide is very important. It's the formation of impératif. Comment former l'impératif? Okay, l'impératif existe seulement avec trois sujets. So it only exists with three different subjects. It exists with tu, nous, and vous. All right, so here's an example of the use of impératif. So you can tell somebody to stop, arrête. Okay, notice that it's for tu, but what's missing here? Does anybody know? The S. Oui, excellent. S is missing. All right, so it's intentional. You take the S off when you're using impératif with ER verbs. Okay, and then also, sorry, one other thing that I forgot to add is you never use the subject when you're giving an instruction in order. So, arrête. So you don't say tu arrêtes, you just say arrête, stop. Allons au magasin. It's understood that let's go to the store. You don't have to say nous because it's impératif. Manger, manger means eat. You don't say vous mangez, you just say eat. All right, so to be more clear, here are the rules for conjugating impératif. Okay, les verbes IR et RE. Généralement, ces verbes conjugués comme l'indicatif présent. So basically, you conjugate IR and RE verbs just like present tense verbs. All right, so finis ton café. So it's assumed it's for tu. Finish your coffee. That's impératif. You're giving somebody an instruction. Vendez les livres. Sell the books. Giving somebody an instruction for a group of people. For vous. All right, now for ER verbs, so there's an exception to ER verbs. We already went over that a little bit. For tu, you just get rid of the S. So for example, if you're telling somebody to eat their dinner, maybe if you get a problem where somebody has an eating disorder and you tell them to eat more in a more healthy way, you could say mange plus santé, okay? And then you wouldn't add the S here because it's understood it's for tu. And then nous, you can see, is exactly the same. Regardons le film. Okay, so enlève le S pour tu. You take the S away for tu. All right, here are some examples